And it just started to become a really challenging moment to try to figure out, because there just seemed to be something on every single home weekend to try to schedule things. So it fell on this one. It isn't ideal. Certainly presents its own set of challenges from a lot of different directions, but here we are. And the kids are always excited about homecoming week. For me, not necessarily as excited, though there are a lot of exciting events in it. It just presents its own set of challenges.
Principal Wayne also says there are some themes for Spirit Week, a fun-filled week for staff and students to dress up and show their school spirit. He says even the community is getting in on the action.
Well, of course, we always have our Spirit Weeks, our Spirit Days that are going to go on. Today is, if you see people at the high school, it's Minion Day, so we get lots of colorful yellow shirts, the dark gloves, and the blue shorts, and then of course the infamous glasses that will end up showing off as an element of it. There's going to be an interesting day that they decided they wanted this year. I think it's Thursday, I believe, is going to end up being where teachers dress like students and students dress like teachers. So that'll be an interesting one to see how that one goes out. And I'm hopeful all of that goes well. It's really fun. I tell you, one of the things that I think I like, though homecoming presents challenge administratively, because you're trying to create rules and guidelines, especially this early in the year where everybody's following, and then you get to homecoming and it's like, nobody really wants to follow any of them, because it's supposed to be a fun time, an exciting time.
Wayne also notes the Powder Puff football game has transitioned indoors in recent years.
Of course, one of the things that is typically always really highly sought after event, I think at least it has been, especially over the last several years, is Powder Puff. That is going to end up being on Wednesday night. I believe the time on that, I think it starts at 6, I think. I'd have to double check on that. But Powder Puff is always a really exciting time. I think we made some changes in the past out of necessity, and it's really become, that's just what we're going to end up doing, and that is moving that Powder Puff game inside rather than being outside. There's some elements of it you go, well, this year maybe it'd be nice to be out on the turf because it's brand new and everything else. But I'm going to tell you, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, we ended up having, it was raining. It just wasn't an option. We were either going to have to cancel or we had to move it inside. And Matt had worked with Powder Puff game in Olympia, where he was from originally, and they had kind of the same thing happen. And he said, I've got some rules and guidelines to be able to run something like that from inside.
The homecoming parade, of course, is the centerpiece of the celebration, and Wayne notes that it takes a lot to make it happen, but it's worth it to watch the whole community come together. And the football game Friday night, Clinton takes on Tremont to cap the week, and it's at 7 p.m. right here on WHOW and our many digital platforms. Many may struggle to find work or hire employees, but a federal government service is here to help. Larry Peterson, employment specialist for Workforce Investment Solutions, explains they bridge the gap between employers and prospective employees at no charge to either party and use tax dollars to fight unemployment in Macon and DeWitt counties.
Workforce is located in Decatur. We serve both the Macon and DeWitt counties, and we're the federal, I guess you'd say, funding program to help both employers and job seekers maintain a good, healthy environment for their workers and their companies. So, like I said, we're the funding agency, so we do help workers find the exact training that they need. And for the employers, we can assist them help find new employees as well as train their existing employees. No charge. It's your federal tax dollars go into this, and the workforce groups, it's a nationwide program, and so even in Illinois, every county has representation. It's just part of the mandates coming from the federal government to say we need a better and developed workforce, so let's help them, and we're the agency that carries that out.
Peterson says they do this by being involved with the community agencies and educational institutions in the two counties. While they do not perform the training themselves, they will fund the training, no matter what that may look like.
Well, basically, it's being involved with all the community agencies, the educational institutions. We don't actually do the training, but we pay for the training, whether it's sending somebody to a CNA school or LPN, or with a company. There is no charge to the companies. When we actually place somebody on a job, or they hire somebody that qualifies, and that's the important word, that qualifies for our program, we can reimburse that company 50% of their wages while they learn the job.
Wow.
We're saying that the company, you're a better trainer than maybe going to the community college because I'm not exactly telling you what your company needs.
Right.
So let's help reimburse you those first few months of training, and you're getting 50% reduction in there, or not reduction, but reimbursement.
Peterson offers advice for current job seekers, and that is to use the free services they offer to their fullest extent. He says they have a couple of events coming up in DeWitt County. One is today.
Take advantage of this service, whether you're applicable for our funding, which usually means if you've been laid off, you're eligible for our funding, or if your income for your family is at a certain level. That's what the government tells us. That's where our specialty is, and that's where we can help. So take advantage, even if you're not in those two groups. Come into our our workforce place on Pershing and Monroe, and it's called the One Stop Center. And so you can pick up tons of information, including this calendar of events for September, all the stuff. Might as well call and find out where it is. Here in DeWitt County, coming up this week, this Wednesday, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, Kurt Holman and Janice Peterson and myself will be at the theater downtown. I've understood there might be some free things been given away.
Peterson reminds when job seeking, again, use all those resources available to you. Contact Workforce Investment Solutions at 217-875-8751 or visit worknetdecatur.org. There is a change in the fall 2024 bow hunting season for parts of central Illinois. Conservation Police Officer Trent Reeves says there is a new policy about harvesting does in central Illinois.
Just like waterfowl, we abide by what those regulations are set, and those are set by biologists doing different population studies and adjusting those limits accordingly. So, doves, for example, you can harvest 15 per day. If there was any studies to be done in the future that show that our dove population is crashing or declining, those those limits would be adjusted accordingly. Most of our hunting seasons and limits and stuff, as well as fishing, for example, is regulated and done from biologists doing studies and kind of making a strongly educated guess on what our limits should be on a daily basis to kind of keep that population at a level that gives hunters opportunities and doesn't allow it to crash basically for harvesting. So the one thing when we're talking about the population control specifically is we do have some rather significant archery hunting changes for deer in some of our counties surrounding DeWitt here. DeWitt is not part of this, but Macon, Piatt, Douglas, Champaign, and Moultrie County specifically, and this will be the first year for this. In previous, 4 or 5 years, you were not allowed to harvest an antlerless deer or a doe from October 1 through October 15th, and that was in an effort to help the populations increase in those counties where, maybe some of the data that the biologists were able to collect through, vehicle car collision data and your harvest records, that they thought that there needed to be an increase in population in those counties specifically.
Well, basically,
Get more information at dnr.illinois.gov. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Here's Clinton Save-A-Lot store owner Dave Jackson on Fighting Inflation 2024.
We strategically make money on things where we can. We buy right, and then we sell and make a larger margin when we can, but it's not on the backs of the consumer, and it's not on key items.
Let Dave and his staff help you fight inflation 2024 by saving up to 40% on your food bill every day, 7 days a week at your Clinton Save-A-Lot. And as Dave always says,
Hope to see you soon.
Warner Hospital and Health Services expanded emergency room means big hospital tech, small hospital caring. When you need ER care, make it Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Find out how their expanded ER can help you by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ramey Miller from Run Deep Coaching. Take your power back. I do holistic personal and business coaching. My service is virtual, so we can visit no matter where you are. Find out more by clicking my icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWittDailyNews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. If you're going to be a playoff football team, you're going to have to travel and take care of the details. Coach Ron Bass says his Clinton Maroons football team was not ready to play Friday night when they traveled to Alton Marquette ultimately coming away with a 35-7 road victory in non-conference high school football action. Despite that, Coach Bass says the kids rebounded and buckled down, able to come out with the victory.
We definitely left some points on the table tonight, but I told our kids this is a good experience to be able to drive 2 hours, 2+ hours. Mm-hmm. You know, if we're going to be a playoff team, you know, you're going to have to travel sometimes 2+ hours. And so you've got to be able to be focused and take care of details and be ready to play. And so I felt like we weren't ready to play. The kids tightened down, and there in the second quarter, we started making some plays, and then we started rolling. So
Coach Bass credited Alton Marquette for their game plan and ability to slow the Maroons offense, but also praised his team's ability to respond to adversity.
Up front, they did really well. I mean, we had some issues up front as far as being able to get them blocked, and defensively, they had a nice drive. Kudos to their coach, their coaching staff. Their drive coming out of halftime was solid. We went to a 6-man front against their 10 personnel, and they did a nice job up front of washing us down and creating running lanes, which is that's why they were able to score there. They had a couple good runs. So, but we ended up adjusting. We went to our nickel front, and like I said to our kids, it's good to experience some of this where we got to make an adjustment. Things aren't going to always work the way we plan them. So overall, I was really pleased with just things that happened. I also told them, defensively, we gave up a score. You're not going to, pitch shutouts the entire year. Right. The other team practices too. So yeah, how we responded to adversity, and I was pleased.
Keaton Graves and Colton Walker continue to pace the Maroons offense. Coach Bass points out Graves did a good job leading the team when they needed a score, and Walker continues to make an impact on both sides of the ball.
He had a great night, and I was telling him on the bench, I said, this is why we've got you in this position, because of your ability to make people miss. And there was a couple plays where he teleports. He's there 1 second, 2 defenders crash into each other because they think they got him, and that's an important thing to have by having him have the ball as much as we possibly can. And so he did a good job. He did a good job throwing tonight too. No, I mean he was a difference maker tonight. When we needed to keep our 3-score lead, he responded. Interceptions again. I mean he's on track for to be the all-time interception leader at Clinton. I'm not really huge into individual awards, but I think that's kind of cool.
Definitely, absolutely.
He offense, defense. He's all over the place.
It's homecoming week at Clinton High School. The Maroons host Tremont Friday night. Hear all the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms starting at 7. Coming into Monticello's Week 2 matchup at IVC, head coach Coley Welter wanted his team to be more physical and more ready at the snap. The Hall of Fame football coach thought his team showed improvement in those areas despite a slow start to the second half, where the Sages allowed the Gray Ghosts to march down the field on the opening possession for a score, then a special teams miscue that led to another score by IVC.
First half, we really have pretty pleased with the first half. We really emphasized getting a fast start after last week, and just in general, I think it was important. We didn't want to give IVC any thoughts that we felt we were the better team. We didn't want them to get any thoughts that they could play with us or stay in the game, and we want to take care of things early. So we're happy with the first half. A little disappointed in the second half. That's just, we emphasize every time we step on the field, got to be ready to go, and we got a little complacent to start the second half. I was pretty pleased with how we defended the run early. I thought that was good. I thought we showed that we were ready to play. And then really the second half wasn't really about being physical. They caught us in a couple blitzes, but just maybe on our heels a little bit. But I thought for the most part we played much more physical tonight.
Ike Young had a monster game for Monticello at the quarterback position with nearly 400 yards of total offense. Top receiver Carter Foran also had another 100-yard receiving game. Coach Welter says it's nice to have Young's ability to improvise when things break down and Foran's steady presence down the field.
You said it. He has the ability to improvise, which is nice. When things do break down, he can make some plays, and it's just nice to have that quality. But I thought other times he executed well, made good reads, kept his eyes up, and had a really solid game overall. That's something they know Ike can do, so that's an opportunity for them to get the ball. But yeah, Carter's very smart, a good route runner, understands where he's supposed to be, spacing, and to your point, when things break down, he knows to get into the scramble drill and keep the play alive. We knew coming into the year he was going to be the primary, more so than other years. We generally have a pretty good collection of receivers, and I think we do now, but he's the guy that's been there, done that. Nolan's coming along pretty well. Like I said last week, Russ had a pretty good game. We got other guys that can make plays, but he's the guy right now, and he's doing well.
Monticello welcomes Matt Toon to Monticello High School this Friday night. Hear the action starting with a pregame around 6:45 on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nils Pfaff scored 4 goals and Blue Ridge blanked Judah Christian 4-0 in high school soccer action Tuesday in Farmer City. Josh Berkler, Indra Nolan, and Ben Clevenger had assists on Pfaff's goals. Goalie Devin Ressler added an assist and 4 saves in net for the Knights. Lane Thomas hit a 3-run homer, and Cleveland's bullpen was terrific once again, helping the Guardians blank the White Sox 5-0 Tuesday night after Ben Lively departed with a leg injury.
It was a 5-0 loss for the Sox, who have now dropped 20 straight series dating back to late June. Starter Jonathan Cannon went 5 1/3, giving up 3 runs on 7 hits and a walk. Another young Sox pitcher, Sean Burke, made his debut tonight, going 3 innings, giving up 3 hits and a run, striking out 3. Here's his first major league strikeout.
2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Curveball for the first major league strikeout for Sean Burke.
Burke is expected to make a start the next time through the rotation. The Sox look to avoid the sweep tomorrow against the Guardians before a day off on Thursday. Davis Martin on the mound for the Sox, Matthew Boyd for the Guardians. It's a 1:10 first pitch, 12:30 pregame show, right here on the ESPN Chicago Hard Rock Casino White Sox Radio Network.
With the Sox off day Thursday, they'll return to the WHOW airwaves on Sunday with Clinton High School football Friday night and Eastern Illinois football Saturday night here on WHOW. The Cubs rallied for the tying and go-ahead runs in a 5-run 8th inning when the LA Dodgers committed 3 errors in a 6-3 loss to Chicago Tuesday night that featured a matchup of Japanese pitchers Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shota Imanaga. The NL West leading Dodgers blew a 3-1 lead and lost to the Cubs for a second straight night, assuring their first series loss since August 5th through the 7th, visiting Philadelphia. LA's division lead was cut to 4.5 games over the second-place Padres. Chicago, meanwhile, is 4 back of Atlanta and the Mets, who are tied for the last NL wildcard spot. Center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong robbed Max Muncy of a potential 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 9th. Yamamoto struck out his first 4 batters of his first start in nearly 3 months, facing off against Chicago's Imanaga in a matchup of former Japanese big league rivals pitching against each other for the first time in the majors. Imanaga allowed 3 runs and 7 hits in 7 innings. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Saya Suzuki went 3 for 5 with a run. Shohei Ohtani was hitless in 4 at-bats and remains 4 homers and 3 stolen bases from becoming the first player in big league history to achieve a 50-50 season. Tommy Edman homered twice on 2 pitches from Imanaga to give the Dodgers a 2-1 lead. Cubs right-hander Jordan Wicks is 1-1 since coming off the injured list on September 1st. Meanwhile, Dodgers right-hander Bobby Miller tries to avoid a second straight loss. That's the pitching matchup in L.A. TJ Friedel had a 2-run single, and Cincinnati scored Cincinnati's other run, all in the 5th inning, as the Reds beat the Cardinals 3-0 Tuesday night. The Reds' Ellie De La Cruz stole 2 bases after walking in the first inning, raising his big league total to 64 stolen bases. He was thrown out in the 3rd inning when the Cardinals pitched out. Rhett Lauder earned his first win in his 3rd big league appearance. The 22-year-old right-hander, who was a first-round pick in the 2023 draft, worked 5 scoreless innings and and finished with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Emilio Pagan pitched the 9th for his first save this season and 33rd of his career. He loaded the bases on 2 singles and a walk before striking out the next 3. Rookies Jordan Walker and Thomas Segazy. Then pinch hitter Matt Carpenter. Andre Palante went 5 innings, allowing 3 runs on 6 hits. He struck out 6 with 5 walks, a balk, and a wild pitch. Reds manager David Bell was ejected in the 6th inning after De La Cruz was called out on strikes. It was Bell's 5th ejection this season and 32nd of his career. Brendan Donovan had 3 singles and 4 at-bats for the Cardinals. Lance Lynn is 9-1 with a 2.11 ERA in 10 career appearances against Cincinnati at Busch Stadium. The Reds have not announced a starter. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When you visit Lincoln Memorial Hospital, you might not remember our state-of-the-art facilities or the high-tech equipment we use, but you will remember how great you were treated. As a Pathway to Excellence hospital, LMH is a recognized leader in nursing support. And committed colleagues mean better, more compassionate care for you and your family. Memorial Health, where great care comes together.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. In poll after poll, the economy appears as a top-of-mind issue among Americans. In last night's presidential debate, Kamala Harris talked about it. Former President Trump says it's Harris who helped to derail the economy in the first place. 23 years ago today, the unimaginable horror of the 9/11 terrorists. And today, as is the case on every September 11th, a solemn ceremony underway at Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan. The names of the close to 3,000 people who died are being read aloud. A measure undoing Missouri's near total